Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Summit Center. So, you have decided to teach your little one how to play dollhouse. Before you begin to teach, you may want to consider some of the following. What is your goal? To know where to start, you need to decide on what your goal is. Why are you teaching your little one to play dollhouse? Do you want your child to sit and play along with you or a sibling? Or is your goal that they be able to play independently? Having a clear idea of what your goal is will help you decide how you will teach your child to play with the dollhouse. For example, if you decide that your goal is to play independently, your focus will be on teaching some different actions in the dollhouse. If you decide that your child's goal is to play interactively with you or a sibling, your focus will be on teaching actions that lend themselves to this. So, where do you start? Once you have decided on the main reason you'd like to teach dollhouse, you now have to decide where to start teaching. To get a better idea of what to start with, you will need to have a good idea of what your child already knows. What can they already do with the dollhouse? If you are unsure of what they already know, you may want to set up the dollhouse and watch them interact with it. You can even grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down some notes as you watch. Some children may have no interest in the dollhouse or have difficulty sitting and staying with the dollhouse. This may be a good starting point. If your child is able to stay with the dollhouse but is not able to do many actions independently, you may start with teaching some simple imitations. For example, you can model having the doll walk and say, do this, do this. You can have the doll lie down or take a nap, go up the stairs, or sit at the table. If your child is able to do a few actions independently already, you may decide to expand on the number of actions they can do by teaching them to do a few actions in a row. For example, have them walk the doll to the kitchen and sit at the table, or walk the doll up the stairs and lie in bed. You can also decide to pair some verbals alongside with the actions they are able to do. You can have the doll knock on the door and say knock knock, or say yum yum as they eat at the kitchen table. The next thing to do is remember to start small. Now that you have decided on your starting point, remember to keep it simple. It will be easier and less overwhelming for you and your child if you start out with small, simple steps. You can always add new actions or goals into your play as other actions are mastered. You can make things more complex as your child learns more. You may start out with something as simple as having the doll walk up the stairs, only working on that single task until it is mastered. Once that is mastered, you can add in a second action, like sitting on the couch or lying in bed. Eventually, you can teach a whole series of actions or add in some verbals. How should you prompt? To teach a new task, your child is going to need some help. This is where prompting comes in. It's how you teach. You may need to start out with a full hand-over-hand prompt to have your child imitate an action. This means you will take their hand, help them pick up the doll, and help them walk it up the stairs, for example. Once your child has some success, you can begin to fade out your prompts. This means you will give them slightly less help as they learn. So, once they can walk the doll with the hand-over-hand prompt, you can begin to use a wrist prompt. This means that after presenting your instruction, rather than holding onto and moving their hand to help them walk the doll, you will just hold onto the wrist. Once they are successful with a wrist prompt, you can give them less help again by just tapping their elbow or using a gesture until they can do it independently. How quickly you can move through these steps depends on your child. Remember that you can always give them more help if needed. If you would like more specific information about prompting, feel free to contact the center. Let's set it up. Before beginning to teach, you will want to consider how you set up the dollhouse. You will likely want to have one doll for you and one for your child to start off with. As your child begins to learn about playing with the dollhouse, you can slowly add in more pieces of furniture or other figures that fit with the task that you are teaching. Having too many items in your dollhouse can be distracting or take the focus away from the task that you are teaching. The next thing is reinforcement. So you are ready to start teaching. There is one more thing to do before you begin. Find the reinforcement. Reinforcement is really important. We use reinforcement to show the learner that what they are doing is right. That if what you want them to do. Once you're ready to start teaching, find some preferred items that you know your child really, really likes. This could be a special edible treat that they don't get very often, some access to the iPad, or even some tickles. While you're teaching dollhouse, remember to give the reinforcement right after they have done what you asked. Here's an example. Say, do this, and the child walks the doll. You give the reinforcement right away. Remember to always tell the child exactly why they are getting the reinforcement. You can say, great work, you walked the doll, and get really excited. A few more things to consider is you don't have to spend a lot of time teaching the dollhouse. A few minutes at a time will do. Try and fit it into a part of your day where you aren't going to be worried about other tasks you need to get done around your house or when you're going to feel rushed. Maybe do it while the other children are napping or during a quiet part in the morning. Do what works best for you and your family. The next thing to remember is to end on a positive. This means that you want to end your dollhouse play session after your child has a success. This could be anything at all. It could be following your instruction, or if you're having a rough day, it could be just nice sitting with the dollhouse for a few seconds before leaving. And last, have fun. That's it. You're ready to play with the dollhouse. Remember that if you have any more questions, feel free to contact the Summit Center. I would like to thank Kelly for letting me share her ideas on how to teach playing dollhouse. Bye, guys.